name is Amber Winter, and I'm the Executive Director for Parkinsons Nebraska. I'm really excited to be here today for our first support group of 2021. The plan is to just briefly go over some Parkinson's disease information. If you're joining us, you're probably at least familiar with what Parkinson's disease is, so I won't spend too much time on that. I want to share a little bit too about our 2020 and the impact that we made and some of our plans moving forward in 2021. And then I'll hop right into sharing how to access some national, regional, and then local Parkinson's resources. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we are ready to just go ahead and get started. Okay. All right. Again, my name is Amber Winter, and I'm the administrator here, or the executive director here at Parkinsons Nebraska. I've been with the organization since 2018. And so I'm really excited to just share some of the stuff that we have going on. So what is Parkinson's disease? That's always a great place to start. Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative brain disorder, and it's caused by a deficiency of dopamine. Dopamine is, on a very basic level, what is responsible for controlled motor movements. The disease is progressive and currently uncurable, although there are a lot of people working to change that. And there's also no diagnostic test, meaning you can't go in and just get a blood draw to figure out if you have Parkinson's disease. A lot of the time the diagnosis comes from a combination of symptoms and then eliminating other causes. And the common age of diagnosis is 65 to 80 years old, although there are about 10% of people who are diagnosed under the age of 50 and 5% diagnosed under the age of 40. So that would be considered young onset Parkinson's disease. And as you can imagine, that is a lot different experience than somebody being diagnosed at a later age. Some of the primary symptoms of Parkinson's include TRAP. That would be the tremor, which is shaking, that usually starts on one side of the body and works its way to the other as the disease progresses. Rigidity, which is stiffness of the limbs, the neck or trunk. Then there's akinesia, which there are different types of this depending on if it's a loss of voluntary movement or really just impairment of voluntary movement. And then posture, so our posture and our balance. Oops. There can be sometimes a typical appearance of Parkinson's disease. So sometimes by a short shuffling gait or the being stooped over, you could almost identify Parkinson's in somebody's walk. Let's see, there we go. Just some other Parkinson's disease symptoms. It does present both motor and non-motor. I'm just going to quickly read down these list of symptoms. There's our TRAP symptoms, so like our tremor, our rigidity, the bradykinesia, which is a slowness of movement. A lot of these also cause that stooped shuffling gait and short rapid steps. There is dyskinesia, which is involuntary movements. Oftentimes this is caused by prolonged medication use. Freezing, micrographia, which is small handwriting, a masked face, and soft speech, which can lead to like communication issues. And then there are non-motor symptoms, which I always found interesting was the diminished sense of smell and how that's connected. There's a lower voice volume, which makes sense if you have softer speech and you can't control those vocal muscles as much. Painful foot cramps, sleep disturbances, constipation, urinary issues, hallucinations, low blood pressure, and then depression, which makes a lot of sense as well if you have issues with dopamine in your brain, that depression might be something that you struggle with as well. Luckily, there is treatment for Parkinson's disease. It encompasses medication, therapy, exercise, and support. Medication typically includes levodopa, carbidopa, some sort of dopamine. And then also another type of medication would be something for those non-motor symptoms, like a depression medication, for example. When we talk about therapy in Parkinson's, that's physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and then also I would add like neurocognitive therapy and mental health therapy as well. I would love to see those more included in the treatment. And then exercise, which is so important, it gets its own slide. There are numerous benefits of exercise. This is where I know we spend a lot of our attention and resources trying to get these benefits out to the community. Physical benefits include improving balance, improving mobility and strength and range of motion. It also impacts non-motor symptoms such as depression. So it reduces isolation and depression. It improves your self-esteem. You get to learn from others, lower stress. Really, there's that social connection that we all know is so beneficial. And then all of that leads to the benefits of just overall improved quality of life, improved cognition, more independence, being able to do activities of daily living more independently for longer. So exercise, that is we think that is just as equal as medication when it comes to being able to live a quality life. It doesn't replace medication, but it should be treated as equally important. And then back to this slide, the last thing is support groups. A lot of the same benefits as exercise when it comes to that social connection and really being able to learn from others who are going from a very unique experience as you are. There are support groups for people with Parkinson's, specific to women with Parkinson's, for people with young onset. There's also support group for care partners and family members of people with Parkinson's as well. With all of those in mind, we have developed a community advocacy model. So, and that's all based off of the idea that the management of Parkinson's disease is dynamic, and it really does take a whole community. It takes the medication, the therapy, the exercise, the support. So looking at this model, if you look in the middle, there's a person with Parkinson's disease. That is always who is the center of our focus of all the other networks. At the top is the medical provider network. This is the person that provides diagnosis, medication, other medical support. Ideally, this is a movement disorder specialist who specializes in working with people with movement disorders like PD. This can also be a primary care physician or a neurologist. A lot of times this is based on where you are at geographically to what you will have access to. Below the medical network are the therapy and wellness networks. If you notice, there is a loop between them, meaning that there's a never-ending continuum cycle between them. The therapy network includes physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech, neurocognitive, all those therapy providers that we were talking about earlier fit in this little network. And then the wellness network includes exercise classes, cognitive and voice maintenance classes, nutrition, and then other holistic and wellness programs. So the idea of this continuum is that therapy brings you to your baseline of where you want to be in regards to where you're at physically, with your speech, and with how you interact in the world. And then your wellness programs help maintain that baseline in your overall wellness. So your exercise programs are helping maintain that baseline set through therapy. So you want to constantly be in the routine of going, for therapy, regular therapy checkups, just to make sure that you maintain that baseline, and then you return to therapy when it's needed. This is true for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and exercise, and speech and voice maintenance. Even if you're continuously taking exercise classes, always check in with your therapist, because we just want to make sure that you're up to that baseline and really see these two networks working closely together. That's where we think we see some of the best results for living well with Parkinson's. Below the therapy and wellness networks is the community network. This includes local leaders, motivated individuals, professionals, care partners, volunteers, and just anything at that local level that's a resource to you. The community network is supported by education and support networks. Those are pretty straightforward. The education network consists of partnerships we might have, local and national resources. And then really also the key to this is the communication of how are you aware of these educational opportunities. And then the support network consist of support groups that connect people to each other. They connect people to resources. They provide a place for socialization, which we know is so important to managing symptoms, especially those non-motor symptoms. So I want to just take a moment to share this model with you because it shows how we believe the management of Parkinson's is both dynamic and lifelong, and that it takes a community. But within this community, it is possible to live well with Parkinson's. And so this model really guides a lot of our programming and funding decisions and what we do. So what is it that we do? We work to create this model on both or in individual local communities, as well as across the state of Nebraska. So we work to connect the community to each other. So people with Parkinson's to other people with Parkinson's, connect them to local programs and services. So where do they live? How can we help improve their access to services? And how can we connect them? And then also it means connecting them to the statewide and national network of resources. So we are working not just to connect the person with Parkinson's to these resources, but also the professionals and providers in the community. And then all the different community networks, we want to connect them together as well, so that therapists are aware of the exercise programs available and the support groups available, so that it really is building a true community. Another way that we support the community is through programming. We do have sponsored exercise classes. We sponsor a variety of, all of our classes right now are mostly online. We have a Live It Up program. We have a Live It Up program, which is a unique blend of exercise and speech, and classes ranging from a strength and balance class to Parkinson's yoga and a lot more. We also have a monthly support group, which we're at right now today. We provide a space for people with Parkinson's and their families to just meet others, discuss Parkinson's disease, learn about resources. Each month we welcome a guest speaker, which this month I get the privilege to speak with you all. And then right now this group is online only, but we're really excited to know or to announce that even once we meet in person again, we will still be offering it virtually, just to continue making it accessible all over the state. And then we also have a new education series. We've teamed up with PD Well, which some of you might be familiar with. Very similar format where we invite a specialist in to talk about a variety of topics. And then in 2020, we rolled out our community outreach program. This program was designed to meet the needs of local communities and then also to strengthen that statewide community, bring them connected into that statewide network. We just finished up the pilot program in Norfolk, and we are so excited about the outcome of this program, especially for a pilot program. We met with a group of support group leaders, exercise instructors, therapy providers to share best practices. We shared our community advocacy model, and then they received a grant to use how they saw fit in their own community. So how did they want to grow their community? We provided them with a grant. And what Norfolk is doing, we're excited to share that you can expect an evening support group to follow one of their exercise programs. And then they are also going to do training to become certified in Dance for Parkinson's. So there'll be a new support group and a new Dance for Parkinson's program beginning up here shortly in Norfolk. So we're really excited about that. And then last but not least, we also support the community through grant making. We have sponsorship programs, which are those ongoing funding for programs. Usually they're like an annual sponsorship. We also have our program grants. Again, those go towards providing technology, towards providing equipment, support, marketing, etc. Anything that program needs to thrive and to get the word out. And then we also have scholarship grants. Those help professionals go to trainings, Parkinson's specialized training, so that we can make sure that anytime they're working with a person with Parkinson's, that they are totally equipped to be able to do that. So with some of those, what we do in mind, we can look back at 2020 and wow, what a great year for being in the midst of a pandemic. All of the challenges that we all faced. I just think about it all the time, how this community just shows up for us and for each other over and over and over again. Throughout this year, we raised over $164,000 to go towards programming, and all kinds of great programming. We provided nearly $50,000 in grants. That's including our sponsorship, our program, and our scholarship grants. We had 6 sponsored exercise programs, and those are, some of them are here in Omaha. We also last year, or the beginning of 2020, sponsored our first program outside of Omaha, which we were really excited about. We provided 12 different program grants. Again, those grants went to programs all across the state. 2 scholarship grants, which, as you can imagine, last year there were a lot of trainings that did not happen. So we're really looking forward to here in 2021, focusing a lot on getting more training and scholarship opportunities available. Out of our program funding, over $11,000 of that went to technology, or so that would be technology equipment or technological support in order to help programs transition from in-person to online programming, in order to keep those programs accessible. And we're really proud of that because we've really seen a switch in how programs are delivered, and we don't see anything changing. Even when programs become in person again, I think Zoom is here to stay. And we really want to be part of building that infrastructure within the Parkinson's community to make sure that we can continue making these programs accessible to people who they might not have been accessible to before. And then the last thing I wanted to touch about in 2020 that we are really excited about is, as you all know, we have really been working to expand services into not the Omaha metro area. We have so many great programs here in Omaha. We're looking to spend a lot of our resources on strengthening other communities that don't have the services that maybe we do here in some of the more metro places. So out of all of the places, out of all the locations that got funding in 2020, if you take out Omaha and Lincoln metro areas, that leaves us with 10 communities outside of Omaha that we had provided funding to. And a lot of those are new communities that we had not worked with before. So they were brand new relationships. So that is really exciting for us. And we're just really grateful that we have such a great community that's helping us reach our goals, and just really enjoying getting out there and meeting everybody across the state. So kind of speaking about that kind of goes into some of our plans for 2021. So one thing that we are working on, we're really excited about, is an art, music, and dance program. We're looking to roll that out in August of 2021. We are working with the Parkinsons Foundation and applying for a grant through them for this program. And we're also working with other community art organizations to be able to reach out and get professional artists. We're also working with student groups and universities to be able to bring students in to work with people with Parkinson's through this program as well. So a lot of community collaboration, which I really love being able to do that. Our community outreach program, which we talked about a little earlier, we had a great successful program, pilot program in Norfolk. So we are looking forward to bringing that to 2 new communities in 2021. We have not determined what those communities are. So if you live somewhere and that community program sounds like something that you would be interested in, please reach out to us. We are also looking to increase our program and scholarship grant funding in 2021. Gotta fix that timer on there. And then we are looking to sponsor 2 new programs. So just a reminder, sponsorship is an ongoing, typically annual sponsorship of a program. These programs could be the 2 communities that we go to for the community outreach program, or they could be 2 separate ones. So again, if you live in central and western Nebraska, if you provide services and you would be interested in maybe starting a new program or increasing the capacity of your program, we have resources and funding that we want to support you with. So please reach out to me. I'll give you my contact information here a little bit later. And then perhaps one of my most look forward things on this list would be a part-time staff member, which is going to be so great and helpful to increase just our overall capacity of our organization, and then also our community engagement. It'll free up a lot of time so that I will be able to really focus on creating relationships with our partnerships with people all throughout the state, and work on programming and just increasing access. That's the theme: increase capacity and increase access. That's kind of our 2020 thing, or 2021 theme. Another thing that we're looking forward to is updating and improving our website and resource directory. We're going to go over that a little bit later. I'm going to give you a brief tour, but we have some changes that we're really looking forward to making on there. And then, of course, in 2020, you can expect to see a continued focus on rural engagement and outreach. So our next section here is on accessing Parkinson's resources. Again, Parkinson's resources are kind of threefold. There are resources at a local level. We also have resources at a regional and statewide level. And then there are also resources at the national level as well. And so we're actually going to start with how to connect to national Parkinson's resources. So this slide right here shows, let's see, is that 7 different organizations and 7 different organizations. These are going to be based all across the country, and they provide services and programs nationally. So they're available to anybody across the country. The PMD Alliance, or the Parkinson Movement and Disorder Alliance, they are based out of Arizona. They're really leaders in online programming, and they even were before COVID. So they've really got the online programs and webinars and series down pretty well. We'll talk about them a little bit later. The Parkinsons Foundation, we're all familiar with them. They're based out of Miami, but they do have a Heartland chapter located in Kansas City. So that's who we work with closely, is that Heartland chapter. The Parkinson Voice Project is based out of Texas. If you have taken speech therapy and have heard of Speak Out or the Loud Crowd, that is the Parkinson Voice Project. The Brian Grant Foundation is based out of Oregon. They have some webinars and information on their website. The American Parkinson's Disease Association, or you might have heard them as APDA, they're based out of New York. The Davis Finney Foundation, they're right next door to us in Colorado. And then the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which I know many of us are familiar with, they are based in New York. So this information is going to be available on our website for you to be able to contact these organizations. And if you have any questions or want any additional information on anything that I mentioned today, you can always reach out to me via email. I'll provide that later. I do want to take a moment to go through some of these national organizations individually and talk about what they do offer, because this last year has really shown how people can pull together and come up with some really great ways to meet changing needs. We'll start out with the Michael J. Fox Foundation. They have a webinar on they're called the First Thursday webinars. And as I'm sure you can guess, they're on the first Thursday of every month. They also have an Ask the MD series. So their MD there will go over a variety of different topics relating to Parkinson's disease. They have a podcast called the Parkinson's Podcast, which again goes over all kinds of different topics related to PD. The Parkinson Voice Project, and the Michael J. Fox Foundation as well. They really are leaders in research. So they have a ton of information on, the latest research, how to get involved in research. So if you're interested in research, that is the website you're going to want to really spend some time on. We'll talk about research a little bit later too. The next organization is the Parkinson Voice Project. They have some really great webinars, the Parkinson's lecture series and Parkinson's information session. A lot of their content is related directly to speech therapy, but they do have information just on Parkinson's in general. They have Speak Out speech exercises. So we mentioned in that community advocacy model that we want to see you go from speech therapy to ongoing speech exercises, just like you do physical exercises. And this is one great way to do that is through a Speak Out or an ongoing voice exercise program. They do offer this online. And then they have a really fun program called the Sing Out Parkinson's Chorus. Over the holiday season, they did a performance essentially where on Zoom, everybody who participated in this chorus would sing their part of the chorus out loud. And then somebody a technical person put everybody's voices on top of each other and made it into an actual real chorus where people are singing together. And they did a presentation on that for their holiday celebration. It was really neat to see how that is. So if you enjoy singing, that would be a really great way to enjoy your hobby and practice using your voice muscles as well. The next organization I want to talk about is the Finney Foundation. Again, they're based in Colorado. We have been working with them a lot lately. They've been a great partner. They have a lot of great webinar series. So these will be series that are either, most of them are monthly or quarterly. All that information is on their website. It's also on our website as well. We'll talk about that later, but they have their Live Well Today series, a YOPD Council. So a great place to get information on young onset. They have information on health disparities and Parkinson's disease, a YOPD Women. So again, something specific to the unique experience of both YOPD and how people or women experience PD as well. And then new in 2021, they're going to have their Victory Summit series. This series is going to cover topics ranging from newly diagnosed to benefits of exercise to information for care partners. So we're really excited to see what they come up with for the rest of the year for that. They also have a podcast called the Parkinsons Podcast. If you're not familiar with Finney, he is an Olympic cyclist who was diagnosed with PD, and his daughter, Kelsey, is the brains behind the Parkinsons podcast. And I know that she talks a lot about being a child of somebody with Parkinson's. They also bring a lot of specialists on and movement disorder specialists and physicians just to talk about a variety of topics. They have a ton of great resources and information and articles on their website. But one resource that I really wanted to point out was their Every Victory Counts manual. This can be downloaded, a digital copy of it downloaded for free online, or you can order one and it can be shipped to you and all you pay is shipping. The manual itself is free. This really provides just great information on how to live well today with Parkinson's disease for people at any stage. So whether you're newly diagnosed, and we've had people who have had Parkinson's for 27 years and they still learn something and gain something from this manual. So really great resource to have. The next resource I wanted to share and talk a little bit more about is the Parkinsons Foundation. They have a webinar series called Expert Briefings, where they bring experts in on all kinds of different topics related to PD. The PD Health at Home was their response to COVID, and it brought a lot of programs online. So all of these, the Mindfulness Mondays, the Wellness Wednesdays, and the Fitness Fridays are all in a Zoom format. And so you can tune in from anywhere across the country. They also have a podcast called Substantial Matters, which again, just addresses a variety of different Parkinson's issues and topics. And they have a lot of wonderful resources on their website, but these three right here, I wanted to pull down and make sure that I shared with you today. They have a helpline, 1-800-4PD-INFO. This is a great place to gain or to call if you have questions, just to get general information. This is staffed by nurses and other professionals, so they can talk about a lot of different things with you. The hospital kit, the Parkinson's hospital kit, you may have heard of this as the Aware and Care Kit. This is a really great resource to have for people just to have set aside for both planned and emergency hospital visits. And then PD Conversations is an online forum. So there are different threads about different topics. So whether you're a care partner, newly diagnosed, YOPD, there are topics about physical therapy, speech therapy, relationships, all kinds of things on there. So you can go on there and it's a forum where you can ask a question and just interact with other people. So if, tuning in and to and support groups and tuning into webinars isn't really, that's too much. The PD Conversations is a great way to still interact with other people without having to go to a support group. The last national organization I wanted to talk to you about is the Parkinson and Movement Disorder Alliance. They normally go by the PMD Alliance. Again, they're the leaders, I I think, in online programs right now. They have a program called NeuroLife Online, and they have all these different online, most of these are weekly, monthly, or quarterly programs, from Lunch with Docs, which brings in physicians to talk about a variety of different topics. They have a therapy break, which is all about physical, occupational, and speech therapy. Their holistic program, as you would imagine, talks about holistic approaches to treating Parkinson's. They have the Parkinson TV Live program, which is quarterly, where they partnered with the University of Rochester. And then they watch this episode of Parkinson TV Live and then have a question and answer session afterwards, which everybody's invited to. And then they also have their Empowered Live Stream, Spotlight Online, and Hear Me programs, which I really suggest. They have a lot of great information and descriptions of these programs on their website. I'd spend a little time on there familiarizing yourself to see which one of these programs interest you. They also have some great online support groups. Their Resilience Online for Everyone is open to people with PD, people who love someone with PD, for care partners, for providers can join the Resilience Online for Everyone support group. They also have a support group for people with young onset called YOPD, YOPD Connections, I'm sorry. And then they have a kind of unique support group, which is the Resilience Online for Care Partners and Adult Children. So that's a great way. I mean, that's a very specific experience if you're caring for somebody with Parkinson's, or if you have a parent with Parkinson's. So a really great resource for you there. And they have some really fun other programs as well. They have the Club Hub Book Club. I don't know what book they're reading right now. I should have looked that up for you, but really great program. And then they have Game On, which is a TV like game show based trivia program. So just a couple ways to just forget you have PD and just enjoy time with other people. That is kind of it for the national programs. And again, there are so many more other programs and organizations out there. These are just the ones that we really work closely with and trust their programming. Moving on to some of our regional and statewide resources and how you can connect with those. The UNMC and Nebraska Medicine, in response to COVID, they have a Parkinson's disease support group and a support group for women, 2 separate groups. They are both online and they are welcome to anybody across the state. I do know that some people from Beatrice tune in, some people from Lincoln tune in. So I know Julie Pavelka, who leads that, as many of you probably know who Julie is. She's the facilitator for those groups. They are on our website, so make sure that you check those out and tune into those. We also have the Parkinsons Foundation of the Heartland. Again, they're based out of Kansas City, near Kansas City. This year, they have some community education programs. They're going to be February 26th, March 30th, April 7th. We do have information on those on our website as well. But that's another great organization that you can go to for information. And then obviously we're a statewide resource. We have our support group, our education series, our outreach program, our music, art, and dance program as well. We talked about those earlier, so I won't spend too much time on them. And then one of our close partners, PDWell, they have really taken the lead on transitioning a lot of their programs from in-person to online. So they have exercise classes, support groups, education, voice classes, all available online, and that is open to anybody across the state that would be interested. Another place that you could find regional resources is if you go to like the Colorado State Parkinson, I think they're called the Rocky Mountain Parkinson Association. I know South Dakota has a Parkinson Association. Iowa has the Iowa APDA. Kansas has even more. I think they have their own kind of like Kansas, similar to Parkinson's Nebraska, but down in Kansas. So all of those organizations could have, you know, a webinar that really interests you. So they're another great place to look for resources. Oh, perfect timing. Next, we'll just talk about, I didn't want to go specifically into all of the different resources available because luckily that would take way too long because there are so many of them. But instead, I just kind of wanted to give you some tips on how to find resources in your local area. So no matter where you are in the state, if you're looking for Parkinson's exercise classes, where can you look? A great place to look, especially in more rural communities, the hospitals, I'm learning, take on even kind of a wellness role as well. There's a lot of wellness programs in some of these hospitals in central and western Nebraska. So check out your hospital and your therapy and wellness clinics attached to them. Churches, a lot of classes are held in churches. And then community centers is another great place to look, particularly the YMCA. YMCAs have a lot of delay the disease programs just throughout Nebraska in general. So that's a great place to look. If you don't have anything specific to Parkinson's, like the delay the disease, a lot of YMCAs even have silver sneakers, which is for active older adults. They have like chair yoga and just a variety of different exercise programs that would be beneficial, even if they're not Parkinson's specific. Recreation centers and then other senior centers just in your area might be great places to look for exercise classes. For support group, a lot of the same places might have a support group like community centers, churches, hospitals, living facilities. Hospitals and your therapist are a great place to start and just ask them, hey, are you aware of any other resources in the area? A lot of times, hopefully, and part of my job is helping them get to know what's in their community, but hopefully they know and are aware of maybe some other services that are in the community that are available to you. They're a great resource. But if you're looking for speech therapy, again, hospital and therapy clinics, and also universities. I know at UNL, they have a program for speech. When you are looking for a speech therapist, and this is important, you want to look for somebody certified in LSVT Loud or Speak Out. And you also want to ask them if they have any sort of ongoing voice classes or if there are any ongoing classes in the community that you could attend. Again, this just goes back to that continuous loop between wellness and therapy. So whenever you're looking for a therapist, look for what their Parkinson's specific certifications are. For physical and occupational therapy, very similar. You're going to be looking for your hospitals and therapy clinics, look at those universities, and then you'll be looking for LSVT Big and PWR Moves. Those are two certifications for people with Parkinson's. So ask your therapist and ask the clinics, do they have anybody certified in these certifications? And then probably one of your best resources to find local resources is the Parkinsons Nebraska website, which actually I pulled up right here. I wanted to just take a moment to kind of give you a brief, just a really quick tour. So on our homepage here, up at the top is our menu bar. One of the easiest ways to find resources in your area is through our resource directory. Quick disclaimer, a lot of these exercise classes, support groups, and therapy programs here are based on the in-person programs. So anything that you see here today, I would always recommend to call that local facility and see what they're doing, because it's very possible that they are either not meeting or the program has been switched to virtual for the time being. So if we go to exercise classes, and let's say I live in, just say North Platte, and I want to know what exercise classes are available. It will pull up all the classes that are available. So you know that here, if you live in North Platte, if you have Parkinson's disease, go check out the Great Plains Health and Sports Therapy Center. Give Andrea a call to see when their classes are and how you can get registered. So these are all of these classes on here will be Parkinson's specific. You can also look for support groups, that same format based on your city. Same thing with therapy providers. However, I will say that our therapy providers, the best way to get the most up-to-date information on that, and this is what I do frequently, is you can just Google LSVT certified clinician. And it'll take you right to this page here. And this will help you locate a certified clinician in your area. You can search for LSVT loud if you're looking for speech therapist, or you can search for LSVT big for physical and occupational therapist. I always forget to do this, to check this box right here, so just a reminder. Let's say we want to look for LSVT big and loud. I live in Sydney, Nebraska. Let's see what is available. And then I'll scroll down. So then you can see, just based on this, that if you go to the Sydney Regional Medical Center, they do have occupational and physical therapists certified in LSVT big. So when you call up to make an appointment, just ask for one of these providers to be your clinician. Another place very similar is the Parkinson Voice Project website. You can search for a clinician very much the same way. We'll search in Nebraska. Okay. Oh. There we go. And so that'll bring down everybody in Nebraska. Now, this will be all across the state. You can also search this website via your zip code as well, which will probably narrow that list down quite a bit. But this is probably one of the most direct ways to get the most up-to-date list of providers. Going back to our website for just a moment, like I said, a lot of these programs might be canceled right now or might have transitioned online. So we went ahead and just started to compile all of the online resources that are available. We have online exercise classes. And as you can see, luckily there are a lot on here. I'm just going to scroll through real quick. These are going to be national resources, our personal programs from other places here in Nebraska. If you scroll through these and you see if there's a program that you attend and you don't see listed on our website that is a virtual program, I would love to know about it. I'm constantly updating our website to make sure that we have the most up-to-date list of programs. Let me see down here if this will take me. Whoa. So I'll take one quick look just at the voice maintenance as well. So again, if you're looking for some of those ongoing speech programs like we've been discussing, this page will give you a few different options for programs to do that. Last thing on the website I want to show you is we do have the 2021 webinar series up. So this will include, most of these are from those regional and national organizations that we had talked about earlier. And it just breaks down how you can find and register for all of their different types of programs that they have available. So I just wanted to let you know, we talked about a lot of these programs earlier, but this is a really quick way to access them. And then another place to look for educational opportunities would be to sign up for our newsletter. Anytime there's a new program, there's a program change, there's an update, etc., a new research opportunity, I really try and compile all of those into our newsletter as best as I can to share those with you. So if you are not already on our newsletter mailing list, right here on our website is a great way to get subscribed to that. All right. And then kind of one of the last things I wanted to touch base on with you today is Parkinson's research. We get a lot of questions about that and a lot of people eager to be involved. So I'm excited to share some information with you. These options right here are some of the organizations and other locations that are doing some great things with Parkinson's research. Like we've mentioned, the Michael J. Fox Foundation is really the leader in this. They have clinical and online trials, the Parkinson's Progression Markers Initiative, Fox Insight, and then they have a neat tool called the Fox Trial Finder, which can help you connect with clinical and online trials that they have going on. So if that's something that you're interested in being involved via a clinical trial, that's a great place to start. And the Michael J. Fox Foundation, again, also has a lot of information about the latest research on their website as well. The Parkinsons Foundation, I believe it was earlier this year, it might have been later in 2019, but they started the PD Generation Mapping the Future of Parkinson's Disease program. I know that our board chair, Dave Ciascio, has participated in this program. You essentially send in a sample, and then they use that to help figure out the genetics behind Parkinson's disease. It's kind of like a PD genome is my very basic understanding of it. They also have other clinical trials. Their Parkinson's Outcomes Project is really just all of the outcomes of their clinical trials wrapped in one. So really great place to find a lot of information. Other places to find research opportunities are universities and colleges. Especially here in Nebraska, we have, or here in Omaha particularly, we have UNMC, we have Dr. Howard Gendelman, we have a lot of research happening at Nebraska Medicine and UNMC, including some Parkinson's drug trials, which another one of our board members has actually participated in. I know also that a lot of grad students or future physical therapists and occupational therapists, for a lot of their, they do a lot of research programs for their grad school, or research projects, I'm sorry, for their grad school programs. And they will often reach out to us and be looking for people who'd be interested in volunteering in their project. That's another thing that we share a lot when they come across our desk. I want to share that with you in our newsletters. So another reason to sign up for that newsletter if you're interested in local research opportunities. There are also private clinical trials. We share an office next door to Cognitive Clinical Trials. I know that they work with people with Alzheimer's and dementia. There are other places that do work with people with Parkinson's, so that's an option to get involved. There's also pharmaceutical companies. I'm not as familiar with their research or how to get involved with them, but if you are ever interested in reaching out to them for any reason, I would be happy to help you connect with them. And then finally, I just want to make sure everybody knows how to connect with us. We are located here in Omaha, right off 168th and Blondo. That's our mailing address. That's the best place to send any contributions. I will let you know that I primarily work from home these days, as does pretty much the rest of the world. So I'm not at the office so much anymore, but I am still available to you via the phone. This is our office number, and I can answer that. I'm available to you guys to answer any questions or help you connect with resources. My email is probably the quickest way to get a hold of me. It's amber@parkinsonsnebraska.org. There's also info@parkinsonsnebraska.org, but it all comes to me. So you can just send that straight to me. I would love to talk to you about connecting you with resources, any thoughts you have on how we can strengthen the statewide community, if there's any programs that you would like to see, just I really love talking to all of you. So please reach out to me. Our website's another great place to get connected, parkinsonsnebraska.org. Our newsletter, again, subscribe on our website. It's also available to subscribe, I believe, on Facebook. You can do that as well. And then speaking of Facebook, we do have our Facebook page, facebook.com/Parkinsons Nebraska. Pretty easy, great way to stay involved. And thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen.